is exactly what I mean by jealousy, envy, and hatred that they have for the Miami Heat. And why does Danny Green keep talking about the Miami Heat? So he says the ceiling for the Miami Heat is the sixth seed and avoid the play-in. The ceiling for me, now unless they make a move, that roster, they can be a top six and avoid the play-in. But I don't see them getting out of the first round. Now unless Spo really outcoaches somebody like Milwaukee. Where do they come up with these takes? I swear they just come up on these platforms just because they're retired players and they think just because they played the game that they know basketball. This man does not know basketball. The fact that you're telling me that we have Tyler Hero, Norman Powell, Wiggins, and Bam Adebayo, if you put those four on any other team, they're not saying that. And to think we don't have Bam, our starting center, or our starting power forward. We don't have Tyler Hero, our starting shooting guard. If any team lost their two starters in the beginning of the season, bro, they're tanking. They're tanking the whole season. Right now, the Miami Heat, they're in the fifth spot. They're 6-4. And like I said, if you told me that we're not going to have Bam, we're not going to have Tyler, and we're still 6-4 playing great basketball, our offensive numbers are through the roof, our defensive numbers are through the roof, I can't complain. But these guys, they come up on these platforms. I don't have 10K subs, but these guys have tens of thousands of subscribers, all because they have a platform or all because they played in the NBA, but they don't know basketball.
Games, we're still early days.
Ceiling for me, I still, even then, unless they make a move, that roster, they can be top six and be in the playoffs, like not be in the play-in. But I don't see them making it out the first round.
Yeah, this is not a second
unless
round.
Spo really outcoaches somebody like Milwaukee.
It's just not a second round talent in terms.
Unless they outcoach somebody, they get. You know what I'm saying?
Hell, man, they might be playing better than Orlando. I'll tell you that freaking much.
So if they match up with Orlando or something like that, and then Spo outcoaches them or something, you know.
So yeah, we're still lukewarm on the Heat, pun intended. But let's get right into.
Fully healthy, this Miami Heat team can beat anyone in the East. The only ones that I'm really concerned about is the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New York Knicks. But I honestly think the Miami Heat can beat the inexperienced Pistons. The Bulls, even though they're 6-3, you're telling me that they're going to continue to be this amazing team? No, they have no experience either. So honestly, outside of the Cavs and the Knicks, we could take the Bulls. The Milwaukee Bucks have arguably the worst roster they've ever had. Yes, Giannis is cool, but we beat Giannis with Jimmy, and we beat Giannis in the past plenty of times. The 76ers, they're never healthy. I don't trust Joel Embiid's knees. The Raptors, the Hawks, and the Celtics, they're pretty much all tanking for the most part. So, honestly, I think the Miami Heat could be a top 3, top 5 team. But talking about what we're going to get exposed in the first round and we're not going to make it past the first round, we are going to the ECF. As long as we have Tyler, Bam, Norman, and Wiggins healthy, and like I said before, this Miami Heat team is playing great basketball without Tyler Hero. Our defense is amazing. Davion's been great. Fontecchio, Drew Smith, Pella Larson, and the list goes on. This Miami Heat team is solid through and through. We also have to thank Pat Riley. Thank God we did not get Bradley Beal. That bum has not played even decent basketball in the past 5 years. So Hoops Collective Podcast clowned the Clippers for trading Norman Powell and acquiring Bradley Beal. Why they would do that, it makes absolutely no sense. The fact that they didn't want to pay Norman Powell when he actually helped that team so much when Kawhi was out. They thought that they could get 80 to 90% of Norman's production from Beal. Beal ain't holding Norman's freaking jockstrap. And at the end of the day, like I said, Norman Powell, he's been phenomenal for the Miami Heat. He's leading the team as a veteran. People forget, even though he's 32 years old, he's a veteran. He's a champion. Those are the type of guys that you need on this roster. So starting January 7th, Norman Powell will be eligible for a 4-year, $128.5 million extension with Miami. Because his bird rights transferred to the Miami Heat, they could go over the cap to re-sign him if it reaches free agency. Miami is currently projected to sit around $60 million below the second apron next summer. I love Norman Powell, but he is not a number one option, and he is not worth $128.5 million. Solid guy. I think he's been phenomenal. You pay him that if we win the championship. What about that? If we win the chip this year, you pay him that money. But all jokes aside, I love Norman Powell on this team. Hopefully we can keep him. It kind of really depends on where does this Miami Heat team want to go. Let me know in the comments. Would you guys extend Norman Powell? I know it's still early, and I know he's missed a few games, but he's really helped this Miami Heat team offensively. He's pretty much averaging 20 points a game. He's really filling in that offensive hole. We've been struggling to score 90 points. We've been struggling to score in the fourth quarter, going 3 and 4 or 5 minutes without scoring, and he's helping us to avoid that.
Oof. Okay.
23.3 points,
James Harden.
662 or 46% on threes on 6 a game.
Oh, I know who this is.
94% at the line on a career high 7 a
Norman
game.
Powell.
That would be one Norman Powell.
That is Norman Powell.
Yeah.
And it's not that John Collins is playing poorly. He's doing okay. He's not scoring, but again, that's not really his role. But
it's that Bradley Beal's playing poorly because Beal wasn't part of the trade, but the trade's made with the assumption that
the trade was it wasn't an assumption. The trade was John Collins and Bradley Beal for Norm Powell. Now, he wasn't technically in the trade, but they made the trade because they were getting Bradley Beal.
They thought they could get 80-90% of Norman Powell's production from Beal and then get Collins as a really nice piece off the bench. Collins has been a really nice piece off the bench. Beal ain't holding freaking Powell's jock with a wheelbarrow right now.
Beal he has played 6 games. He is averaging 8 points on 37% shooting.
The Miami Heat, they are a potential landing spot for John Morant per Ira Winderman. If the Grizzlies were to entertain trading John Morant, they would want either a star player who can sell tickets or a boatload of picks and young players in return. I know a lot of people are saying to trade Tyler Hero, but of course, remember, this is Memphis that we're talking about. They also got a boatload of picks in that Orlando deal with Desmond Bane. So I think they're sitting around, on at least 3 or 4 first-round picks from that deal alone. And for them to trade Ja, it's Memphis. They're not going to get any other stars unless they trade for them or unless it's homegrown. And of course, they do want to keep Ja and Triple J together. They don't want to rebuild. But even if they do, you would have to probably include Tyler Hero, Jaime, and Jovic, which we all know the Miami Heat are not doing that. Especially how Ja's numbers are declining. His shooting percentage is terrible. His rim pressure or his average around the rim has been terrible. His numbers overall have not been good these past few seasons. And of course, the injury history. He can't shoot. Listen, I like Ja, but I would not like him on the Miami Heat. I'm not going to give up any of my young pieces, especially right now how you have Jaime, Jovic, Larson, and especially when Tyler Hero gets back, this Miami Heat team is going to be solid. I keep telling you guys, this Miami Heat team is going to be a lot better than what people think. We already have 2 of the great point of attack defenders in Davion and Drew that people are not talking about at all. But let me know what you guys think in the comments.